Silvanus was a Roman tutelary deity of woods and fields. As protector of forests, he especially presided over plantations and delighted in trees growing wild. He is also described as a god watching over the fields and husbandman, protecting in particular the boundaries of fields. The similarly named Etruscan deity Silvanus may be a borrowing of Silvanus, or not even related in origin. Silvanus is described as the divinity protecting the flocks of cattle, warding off wolves, and promoting their fertility. Dolabella, a rural engineer of whom only a few pages are known, states that Silvanus was the first to set up stones to mark the limits of fields, and that every estate had 3 Silvani: a Silvanus domesticus, a Silvanus agrestis, who was worshipped by shepherds, and a Silvanus orientalis, that is, the god presiding over the point at which an estate begins. Hence, Silvani were often referred to in the plural. Attributes and associations. Like other gods of woods and flocks, Silvanus is described as fond of music. The syrinx was sacred to him, and he is mentioned along with the Pans and nymphs. Later speculators even identified Silvanus with Pan, Faunus, in use and Aegipain. He must have been associated with the Italian Mars, for Cato refers to him as Mars Silvanus. In the provinces outside of Italy, Silvanus was identified with numerous native gods: Susilos, Poeninus, Cinquas and Tetis in Gaul and Germany, Calarius, Cosidius and Venotonus in Britain. A Romano-Celtic temple containing several plaques dedicated to Silvanus Calarius has been found at Camulodunum, Calidicus in Spain, the Mogeri in Pannonia, Silvanus in Etruria. The Slavic god Porwit has similarities with Silvanus. Worship. The sacrifices offered to Silvanus consisted of grapes, ears of grain, milk, meat, wine and pigs. In Cato's De Agricultura, an offering to Mars Silvanus is described to ensure the health of cattle. It is stated there that his connection with agriculture referred only to the labor performed by men, and that females were excluded from his worship. Virgil relates that in the very earlier times the Tyrrhenian Pelasgians had dedicated a grove and a festival to Silvanus. In literature, in works of Latin poetry and art, Silvanus always appears as an old man, but as cheerful and in love with Pomona. Virgil represents him as carrying the trunk of a cypress, about which the following myth is told. Silvanus, or Apollo according to other versions, was in love with Cyparissus, and once by accident killed a pet hind belonging to Cyparissus. The latter died of grief, and was metamorphosed into a cypress. In Edmund Spenser's epic poem The Fairy Queen, Silvanus appears in Canto 5 Book I. His wildwood god save the lost and frightened Lady Una from being molested by Sansloy and take her to him. They treat her as a queen because of her great beauty. Spenser writes in stanza 14, so towards old sɪlˈveɪnəs they did her bring, who with the noise awaked, cometh out, to weet the cause, his weak steps go earning, and aged limbs on cypress are stadle stout, and with an yvie twine his wast is girt about.